my name's Anna. Welcome to Fit for Life. Let's get up and get moving. I'm going to start out with our warm-up. Marching on the spot, nice high knees, get those arms involved. Like I said, my name is Anna. I'm an exercise specialist, physiologist for the Aspen Primary Care Network. We usually do this class in person, but while we can't get together here in Westlock, we can still stay active at home. Please remember that you're doing these exercises at your own risk. Make sure you're being safe, work at your own pace, and the Aspen Primary Care Network is not liable for any type of damages or injuries that might be incurred during participation with this video. So please be careful, use your best judgment, and if anything's too tough, just sit down and wait for the next exercise. Work at your own pace. We're gonna pick up our pace here with our little march, working on just getting all of those joints lubricated, feeling like we're warming up. Now more than ever, it is so important to be staying active, even when we can't get out and do all the things that we might want to do. It's so important for our physical health, but also our mental health, to keep moving and keep physically fit. Okay, nice high knees. And let's switch to our polka. Going to try and keep my time in check here today. Not always one of my strong suits. Nice and light on your toes with your polka. Make sure that when we are allowed to get out and dance again, we'll be ready. Okay. Nice and light on your feet. Maybe you can have some music on while you're watching these videos, or you can enjoy my jaunty little background music there. Okay, good job. And let's do our hip swings. All you need for equipment today is your chair and your TheraBand. We're not doing anything too crazy today. We're going to focus on some proper muscle activation. Nothing too crazy. Make sure you're not kicking anything here, and switch to the other side. All right. Nice and loose. Hear that swinging hip. Feel how that standing hip has to do some work here. A little bit more. And let's warm up our shoulders. Start with small circles, getting bigger and bigger. Nice and warm through your shoulders, and getting smaller and getting smaller and changing direction. Okay, start small, getting larger, warming up that upper body, and getting smaller again. Okay, I want you to give your shoulders a little bit of a wiggle here. Give your shoulders a nice squeeze back and down along your spine. Let's reset that chest, back and down. Good job. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do today, you can do this with a band or without a band. I'm going to do it without a band first, just to show. It's just standing side leg raises. So we're going to make sure we're holding on to our chair for balance here. Hips are staying nice and straight, and we're doing a side leg raise and slowly back down. Try to pause and slowly down, okay? Now things to watch out for here that we're not cheating. I don't want you to teapot. No tipping like that, okay? Nice and straight. And coming out, pause, coming down. And out and down. Try to pause out at the top and slowly release, coming back down. Now the other way I don't want you to cheat is sticking your butt out and doing that, okay? I want you to try and be nice and straight and come on down. So the first few that you did should have felt pretty easy. By the time we're getting to the last few, you can feel a burn in that side of the hip, that big gluteus maximus. Nope, gluteus medius on this one. The gluteus medius muscle. And you should also feel this on the stabilizing side as well. Let's do the other side. If you have a band at home and you want to make this a little tougher, what you can do is just step on this side, put your foot through that loop, and coming out to the side, adding a little bit of resistance there. Now, I would rather you, if you can't do this with your band, if your band is too hard, I'd rather you do it without, so your posture stays good, okay? You can see I almost start to tip there. So having the better form, the better posture is always going to be what we prefer, rather than doing it with a heavier or harder resistance. I never want to sacrifice my form and my posture just so I can say I added some weight to it. All right. Remember to try and pause at the top and then come on back down and try to be in as straight as a line out to the side as you can. Feel how that standing leg is really doing a lot of work here, especially since we just put it to work with these guys. All right, feel the burn. Try and get a couple more. If you do these on your own, you can count out how many you're doing. I'm usually too busy talking up here to be counting too much. And last one, pause, coming on back in. Good job. So the next one, same thing. If you want to add the band, you can, but you don't have to, and I would much rather you have good form. So the next one, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn to the side. We're going to do a standing hip extension now. So we just went out to the side. Now we're going to come out to the back. All right. So just so you guys can see me here, I'm going to make sure again, I'm not tipping forward. I'm not sticking my butt out. I'm going to stand nice and straight. And we're going to extend that hip, pause, and coming on back. Extend, pause, coming on back. Really focusing on making a muscle. Now we're working the gluteus maximus, working that big chunky muscle in the back. I really want you to think about squeezing your butt when we're doing this. We're focusing a lot here on proper muscle activation. This is going to protect you when you're doing more exciting and bigger, fancier exercises. All right, making sure that those glutes are firing properly is going to protect you from low back pain and hip pain and knee pain. It's just going to make you move a lot better overall. Pause and back. Couple more here. Keeping that leg straight. Coming back, and good, okay? Now, the same way that we added the band to the last one, you can try doing that here, so I'm not even tying the band. I'm just kind of standing on the end of it. I'm gonna loop my foot through. Going to make sure I'm not teapotting, so that means I'm just doing this, right? I'm not doing that. I'm going to stand, brace myself nicely, and coming back and forth. Try to pause at the top and coming on back. And pause, and good. Keeping that leg as straight as you can. That knee stays straight. We're just moving from the hip here, trying to not compensate through your back at all. And again, if you do start to compensate, take that weight, take that band off. And I would rather have really good quality of movement, getting a good squeeze in through that butt muscle. Big squeeze here and back. Okay? And try to pause at the top and coming on back. Couple more. And last one. Okay, good work. Make sure you're not tripping over your band. The next one we're going to do, you can do without the band or with the band. Again, I'm going to do this side view just so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to do a standing hamstring curl. So your hamstrings are these three muscles at the back of your thigh there. I'm going to just make my loop. We're not tying it. This time we are bending the knee. Okay, this time my hips stay really straight and I'm just curling my heel towards my bum. And you can see how my knee stays pointing straight down. I'm not doing this, okay? I'm not letting that knee come forward. The knee kind of stays glued to the other knee. All right, and we're just curling that heel towards the bum. You should feel this really quick in through those hamstrings. All right. Good job. Do a few more. And one more for good measure here. Slow and controlled with our band, always. All right. I'm going to do this on the other side. If you find that you start to cramp with that band or anything like that, you can do this without the band too. Just think about squeezing that heel towards the bum. Squeeze and back. And making sure that that knee is not drifting forward like this. All right? That knee stays pointing straight down and just the heel is coming up towards the bum. All right? And if you want, add in that band. And that's just going to make it a little harder. Add a little bit of resistance. If you are a person who has ankle weights at home or cuff weight, this is a great exercise to use them for. Some people have exercise equipment that they've accumulated at home and they don't know what to use it for necessarily. So if you have any of those floating around, this is a great time to use them. All right, couple more, and wonderful. Okay, let's get your band out of the way here. And we're going to do some heel toe raises. So we've done these plenty of times before. Up on the toes and then bringing the toes up towards you. Making sure that we're trying to stay fairly straight through the hip. And we're activating those shins, trying to bring those toes up towards us. You might not get very far, and that's okay, as long as we're not sticking out our butt too much here. It's hard to try and really get good quality of movement here while you rock that weight back onto your heels. But just try to make sure you're lifting those toes up towards you as good as you can. I find looking down at the toes is a bit of a, it's not always a good thing, because as soon as we look down, our butt tends to go out. So try not to look down too much. All right. Good job. Last one. And bringing those toes up. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to do some chair squats. So we've done chair squats a lot before, but we're gonna line up, making sure our form is good every time. So I'm lining up with my chair nicely. Feet are a little wider than hip width apart. And I'm going to aim with my tush for the seat and standing back up nicely. So if you're comfortable doing the full chair squat, just repeat that. If your knees aren't happy doing that, there's nothing wrong with doing a quarter squat. Just come down as far as you're comfortable and come on back up, making sure that when we stand up all the way, okay? So that just means that I'm not staying back here and doing this. All right, I am going to come down and stand up all the way. All right, no matter if I'm doing the full chair squat or if I'm doing a quarter squat. Or you might do a sit to stand where you're practicing. This is a test that we do in my office quite often. I'll ask you to do as many sit to stands as possible. If you're doing the sit to stand version, make sure your feet are staying on the floor and you don't fall into this where you're rocking with your feet, okay? And if you're looking for a bit of a challenge, try to bring a leg up, all right? Do that touch, come on up. Now try to slow it down still, so you're having to focus on stabilizing things. The quicker we go, the easier it feels almost sometimes, but I always want to make sure that those postural muscles are working, okay? We're gonna sit down, wrap that band around your knees. We're going to do some seated clamshells, so still working those hips. So hold the band with one hand. Feet are going to stay together, and we're going to bring one knee out to the side and coming on back. Pause and come on back. So we're opening like a little clamshell there. Okay, my one knee stays stable as we just rotate through the other side. You might feel a few little tweaks and pops sometimes, but as long as you're not feeling any kind of stabbing pain here, you should be okay. All right, a few more. And one more here for good measure. And let's go to the other side. So I'm gonna hold the band nicely, holding this leg stable and coming out with the other hip. And you might find that one leg is stronger or feels different than the other one. I know for me, my left hip here always feels tighter than my right hip. We're coming out and coming back. With all of our band exercises, we make sure we go slow and controlled. Good quality of movement. All right, and let's do a couple more. Good job. All right, we're gonna do a quick shoulder press here before we get into our regular upper body work. So holding that band kind of, I like to hold it sort of to the top of my tummy. We're gonna hold the band with our moving hand. So anchor hand is here, moving hand is up here. I'm starting at my shoulder and I'm punching up into the air slow and controlled. I don't need to be way back here. Just kind of be where your shoulder is comfortable. Especially at home, be careful with these overhead movements. If you've struggled with rotator cuff injury in the past, this is really painful or difficult for you, maybe just wait until we do a safer exercise. Of course, you guys need to be your own best judgment at home for what is okay for you to do. Now, if you need a little bit more guidance, always feel free to give us a call. Talk to your doctor about getting a referral for a one-on-one session. And almost done here. Okay, and up, and good. Let's anchor with the other hand nicely to my abdomen. Hand is starting off at the shoulder. We're punching up. Okay, and if you have a really heavy band at home, you might have to be careful with this or give yourself a little bit more slack, because overhead movements with the shoulder are always a bit of a gamble. It's just typically where we see more injuries happen is with the overhead movements. So please be careful when doing these. All right, let's do a couple more. First few should have felt pretty easy. By the time we're getting into the higher repetitions now, we should be feeling a little bit more fatigue. And good job. All right, let's do our seated row. Bringing that band around my feet. My legs are nice and straight in front of me, and I'm rowing my boat. Squeezing my shoulder blades together as I come on back. Really drawing those elbows back, drawing those shoulder blades together. I'm just going to switch to side view here so you guys can see a little better what's going on. Good posture, nice and straight, and we're rowing our boat nicely back. And really thinking about squeezing those shoulder blades. A lot of us are very weak between the shoulder blades because we spend all day doing things in front of us and typically have bad posture while we're doing it. And so straightening out and strengthening back is really important. Okay? Slow and controlled. We should be feeling that. We're really squeezing those shoulder blades nicely. Okay, good. Let's do our chest press. So the opposite of the row is the chest press. So bring that band behind your back. Now I'm starting at the chest and I'm pushing straight out. Still good posture. Make sure that those shoulders are nicely down. They're not crunching up to your ears. So keep those shoulders down where they're supposed to be. And we're doing nice straight lines out from the armpits here. And slowly back. Good job. And always slow and controlled and still thinking about our posture here. Like I said, most of us fall into that forward posture where our shoulders come forward and our head comes forward, which, I mean, we do everything in front of us all day long, so to be expected. But it's important that we counteract that with some good strengthening and paying attention to proper posture. Okay, let's do our bicep curls. So this time, I'm going to keep my knees bent and put my feet on top of the band. Elbows are going to stay tucked now, and we're just going to hinge at the elbows and coming back down. Nice and slow and controlled. And switch to the side here so you guys can see. An important thing that is not happening here that I commonly do see people fall into is they do this. Okay, they hoist it up. All right, so we're not doing that. We're really keeping those elbows tucked, and we are just flexing at the elbow. Make sure your shoulders are staying down. They're not hunching up to your ears. All right, keep those shoulders down. Nice flexion and straighten. Good job. Good posture. Wonderful. All right. The opposite of the bicep curl is the tricep extension. So with this one, I'm going to take my band in one hand. I'm going to anchor that band to my opposite shoulder. Take a nice high grip on one of the tails there, and I'm going to straighten my arm down. So, again, side view here. You can see that my elbow stays nicely tucked, and we're going for a straight push down there. All right, slow and controlled. If we've been practicing these, it should be getting a little easier to control that release. By the time we've done a few of them, you might feel that shake happening. That's okay. And let's do the other arm. So now I'm going to anchor it to the other shoulder. We're going to do a nice high grip, and we're going to keep that elbow tucked and straight down, making sure that that shoulder is staying down as well. We're not hiking that shoulder up towards our ear. It's staying nicely put. We're pushing straight down. Good full range of motion happening here. Okay. And release. Nice and slow. Okay. Making sure you're remembering to breathe. We will try and breath hold during all kinds of exercises. It's not necessarily a good thing. In my class, I will always ask you to make sure that you're breathing. Okay, good job. All right, so that is it for our band. Our core one today. I'm gonna try my best. We're gonna use our brains here a little bit. So this is called a seated dead bug, usually a dead bug. Usually I do the dead bugs on the floor, but we're gonna try and do our best here in our chairs. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into that kind of activated core semi-reclined position where I'm not sitting back in my chair. I'm kind of almost touching the back of my chair, but I'm not. I'm nice and activated here through my core. We're going to bring our feet out. We're going to bring our hands out. Now, you're going to imagine that you're kind of holding a ball between your hands and your feet. I want you to take an arm and the opposite leg, slowly extend and touch down to the floor while your other hand and leg stay nicely there. And then you're going to bring them on back. Now we're going to take the other hand and opposite foot and slowly, we're still semi-reclined here, slowly extend to just touch the floor and reaching that hand back and coming on back. Whew. Okay, take a break. So we're doing opposite hand, opposite leg, just like we've done the Superman, kind of when we're standing up. That's across the back. This time we're working across the core. Slow and controlled. I'm going to do a bit of a kind of diagonal side view so you can kind of see how I'm semi-reclined here. I'm not sitting against my chair. If you want it to be a bit easier, sit a bit further back, a little bit harder, be a little further forward. We're going to find my sweet spot here. We're going to semi-recline. I'm not touching the chair there. Semi-reclined, feet in front, hands in front, like I'm holding a big ball between my hands and my feet. Take a hand, opposite foot, slowly go touch the floor and reaching that hand back, slowly coming back, and then the other side. Slow and controlled, just touch and slowly back. Okay, so you can feel how that works across the abdomen there. So you can try practicing that one on your own. We're gonna get up into our balance so we're not here all day. Okay, let's do our tandem stand here first. So that means standing heel to toe. And we're going to just check in with our balance. If you need your chair or a kitchen counter or something close by, that's fine. We're gonna just see how we feel here. Do a bit of a weight transfer, forward and back. This should be starting to get a little bit easier. And if it's not, that's okay. If this is where your challenge is and where you feel your wobble, that's fine. Switch your feet. Let's try the other side. The main thing that I want here is that you feel like you're doing some work. So transfer the weight, see how you feel. A wobble is good, okay? Now, we're going to take an object. So I'm gonna grab my band here because that's what I have close by, but if you have a ball or a water bottle or a pen, anything that you can hold, something small and light, your band, whatever you want. We're going to use that in our one leg stand. So let's get into our one leg stand. Check your hips, make sure they're still even and that you didn't sink when you came onto that one foot. So making sure that you're activated through your hips and they are nice and straight. Leg is nice and soft here. And we're going to take our object and we're going to bring it out to the side, and we're going to follow it with our gaze, okay? And you're going to slowly bring it back in front of you, grab it with the other hand, pass it to the other hand, I guess, and slowly follow it with your gaze to the other side. Okay, and we should feel that standing leg having to do some work here. And slowly bring it on back. And keeping in mind that you can modify this by having a hand, maybe you're going less and less fingers on the chair here, and you can still challenge yourself by following your gaze with that. So get onto the other foot. We're going to start with that object by our chest. We're going to make sure the hips, let's line up our hips. Are we straight through the hips or are we sagging? So straighten out your hips, soft legs, and we're going to bring that object in our hand up to the side, follow it with your gaze all the way. Make sure you turn your head, you're not just turning your eyes. Have your hand nearby to your chair if you need it. Bring that object back and pass it to your other hand and following with your gaze to the other side. Good job. Slowly bringing it on back and feeling comfortable there, okay? So the point is we want to feel some wobbling happening in through the feet and the ankles. That's going to strengthen things up. All right, let's stretch out our calves before we sit down. So using the back of our chair, we're going to take a nice big step back with one leg. Keep that heel on the ground as good as you can and just sinking into that front leg a little bit, feeling a nice pull in through the back of your lower leg there, in through the calf. We're going nice and slow and controlled. We're never bouncing any of our stretches. That means doing this thing here. Not particularly safe for most people. Switch sides. And we are always just going to do a nice, slow, controlled stretch. All right, you're just going to where you feel feel that initial pull, that nice, gentle pull. Breathe into it. Maybe you can go a bit further. And go back to the other side. Keeping that heel on the floor. Your toe is trying to point nice and straight forward here. You're not pointing it out to the side like that. Your toe stays pointing forward. Switch sides. Keeping that heel on the floor. Thinking forward. Feeling that nice gentle pull. Most of us are quite tight in through our calves. All right, let's sit down. Take a breath, and we're going to stretch out our neck. All right, so hand goes behind the back. We're going to gently pull. You can just gently guide with your other hand. That nice side of the neck stretch. To the other side, hand behind the back. Bringing that over. Nice and gentle. A lot of us carry a lot of tension in through the upper trapezius here. Other side. Nice and gentle. Okay. And again. Good job. And if you're very tight in through this muscle, you might not even need to guide your head over with your hand. Our heads are pretty heavy. You might feel a pretty good stretch just going like that. Okay, let's do a similar stretch, but this time instead of putting the hand behind your back, you're going to put the hand on your shoulder. You're going to turn your nose away from that side, and then you're going to kind of tuck your nose down into your armpit and just tip the back of your head down. In here, give your nose a little bit of a wiggle, see how it feels. A little bit more of a targeted stretch in through the neck there. Let's do the other side. Instead of putting the hand behind your back, you're going to put that hand on your shoulder as good as you can. Turn the nose away and tuck down into the armpit. Nice gentle stretch here for a little muscle called levator scapula, which is responsible for a lot of tension headaches. Let's do the other side. Hand on the shoulder. Turn your nose away and tuck your nose down into your armpit. Give your nose a little wiggle. See how you feel. And again on the other side, hand on the shoulder, turning away and tucking down. Okay. Remembering to breathe. Good. We're going to do a nice twist. So reaching for the chair behind you, doing a nice twist from your seat all the way to your crown. Slow and controlled. You're really doing that shoulder check here. I really like to reach for my chair with this arm, so I'm kind of stretching my chest out a little bit as well. Twisting from your seat all the way up, okay? And the other way again. Nice breaths here. And again to the other side. Wonderful. Okay, let's stretch out our glutes. We're going to put the ankle onto the knee and sitting nice and tall and hinging forward at the hip, making sure that we're nice and straight. We're not curling in through our back, our chest there. Remembering as well that if you've had a hip replacement or a knee replacement, this might not be an appropriate exercise for you. But there's a lot of therapists that can help you out with picking a different one. Ankle onto knee, sitting nice and tall. I'm going to turn to the side here so you guys can see that when I hinge forward, I'm still staying very straight through my back, and I'm not curling at all. Think about really puffing your chest out almost, and hinging at the hip, drawing forward from the belly button. We're never pushing this knee down. Okay, let's do the other side. Ankle onto knee, sitting nice and tall, and hinging forward, feeling a nice pull in through the glute, the side of the leg. Sometimes you might feel it in through your adductors on the inner thigh there as well. That's okay. And again, the other side, ankle onto knee, sitting nice and tall, drawing forward, and remembering to breathe. Okay, good posture. And last one we're going to do is our hamstrings. So planting that heel in front of you, engaging the toe towards you, again sitting nice and tall, just like with our glute stretch, and again just hinging at the hip to get a really great hamstring stretch. Maintaining your posture here is so important. I'm going to switch sides and do it on the other foot to the side here. Plant the heel, engage the toe, sitting tall, hinging at the hip. This knee here is not locked back. It's kind of engaged and making a muscle with this leg, and we're very straight in through our chest. Do the other side. You can see, plant the heel, engage the toe, sitting tall, and hinge. If I'm just going to curl and do this, yeah, I can touch my toe, no problem, but that's just all curling in the back. We're totally losing the hamstring stretch in that. So good posture and hinge. Good job. And the last one, plant the heel, engage the toe, sitting tall, and hinging forward. I'm not pushing this knee down. I'm almost making a muscle, drawing that kneecap up towards me. Good posture, even hips. All right, so we made it through another session. I hope to catch you next time. You can find new videos here every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock, just like class. If you have any questions or comments, you can drop them below. You can contact the PCN or however you want. I hope you guys stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.